What's up, everyone? Welcome to Lowered Expectations. Thanks for lowering your expectations and hanging out with me here. I do appreciate it. In today's video, I am going to be doing more testing on my diesel heater that I've modified in an attempt to burn waste motor oil. If you haven't seen this video, then the video that you're currently watching is not going to make any sense to you whatsoever. So you're going to want to go back and watch that one before you watch this one. There are actually two videos leading up to this, but if you watch the last one, then you'll probably have a pretty good idea about what's happening. I have been struggling to try to make these videos short and fast-paced enough so that people will actually watch them and pay attention, and still make it so that I give you guys enough information so that you have some kind of idea about what is actually going on here and how much of a struggle is actually going into this testing. So I have left out a huge amount of testing, a lot of repetitive modifications, and tried to make this video short, and I hope that I've succeeded. One more thing before we get into this, you guys will see me using my Weaver rotary flex shaft grinder in this video, and a bunch of you have actually asked me about that tool. I purchased that tool from Weaver with my own money almost 2 years ago. I have made a review video on it that I will leave linked here. And because of that, Weaver has actually sent me a second tool for review. So I've already done a review on it and they've sent me this one. The reason why they sent me this is because they are currently back in stock in US and in Canada. So if you guys want one, you might want to go check it out now. This is a really handy tool to have around the shop. I've used it for doing all sorts of porting. It is basically a fancy Dremel tool with a flexible shaft. It is a copy of the Fordham tool, and I've had many people in the comments section tell me that they've actually had both tools and that the Weaver one is actually better than the Fordham. So if you're interested in this, they do have some back in stock. I will leave an affiliate link as well as a discount code in the description below. I wouldn't wait for the review video to come out if you want one, because there might not be any in stock by the time that video comes out. I have found this long, what I believe to be head stud, and I'm going to try to turn this into a fuel delivery tube. I have the head stud threaded all the way, so you can see this end isn't threaded all the way. This end is, and I've got the chamber reinstalled, and we are going to basically thread this into here and then push it through until it touches, and then we can mark it wherever we need to cut it. Okay. That'll be good. Let's just mark it here. It took a little bit of effort, but now what I have is a tube with a hole through it. Oh, the camera can kind of see it there. Perfect. The fuel line will go in the end of the pipe, or the bolt with the hole in it. And this can thread in there, and we can actually thread this in all the way until it actually touches the end of the burn tube. I will come back to you guys when I've got this ready to fire up. I've got this piece on here just for now, just for startup, so I can see what's happening. If I run the exhaust outside, I won't be able to tell what's actually going on. So we've got the pump clicking. Okay, we've got ignition. All right, I've opened up this line just a little bit. It is running just diesel right now. 148 Celsius, 150. Let's see what the carbon monoxide says. It's not ridiculous. 22. That's really good, actually. It is currently delivering diesel through this line, probably dirty diesel, partly, a little bit of waste oil with diesel. But we're going to switch it over. It is 196 Celsius. I'm going to turn down the drip rate just a little bit. And then I'm going to open up the pump. Okay, it just hit 200. Oh, okay, there's a lot of smoke. So it does not like this. Okay, can we regulate it? Let's try this again. It's like a locomotive. I'm sure you can tell I am very preoccupied with the heater, making adjustments and seeing how the heater responds to those adjustments, and so I'm not doing a whole lot of talking to the camera. At least nothing that's understandable by a normal human being. So I figured I would pop in here and explain a few things to you guys because I know all of you didn't watch the previous videos. So basically this is a normal heater, but instead of using the fuel pump, we are actually using an IV drip feed with a valve on it so that we can deliver fuel into the, what I'm calling primary burn chamber, which is basically just the ordinary burn chamber. On top of that, we have a secondary piece that is dropped into the burn chamber where we are dripping our fuel. That fuel that is being dripped in is now diesel, it will be waste oil, and it is being delivered with a fuel pump, but the fuel pump actually has the line crimped off. So what you're seeing here is I am actually reducing the amount of fuel that is being pumped in by crimping off the line to try to see if it is a matter of the heater running with too much fuel and running very rich, or if it is some other issue. I'm pretty convinced that it's some other issue, but we're gonna kill the fuel altogether. Pardon me, we are going to kill the fuel altogether from the primary system to see if the secondary system will then take over and keep running, or if this happens. Okay, we're up to 208 Celsius. We got sparks coming out the exhaust. It flamed out in the primary chamber and that went, that made it really bad. It looks as though the only thing that's keeping it burning is the fuel going into the primary chamber. I think I'm gonna try adding a baffle and see if that makes any difference, but yeah, we might have to rethink this design completely. When I pulled this thing out and exclaimed that it was in very good shape, even though it was oxidized a little bit, the reason for that is because I know how extremely harsh it is inside of the chamber. I did a bunch of experiments last year, and yeah, things basically just fall apart in there. Metal actually gets consumed and turns very brittle. I got a shot with my phone, but I'm going to pull the chamber out now in pieces and show you guys what has happened. So this, whoa, it's all crumbling. This is, wow. This is a piece of the chamber. What you're seeing here are the fingers that were made out of the black pipe. So this is 1-inch black pipe. And it is literally just crumbling apart like it were chalk. Like, that's, yeah. I'm not going to break it all apart, but you can see the end of this spike here. Oh, okay, I did not expect that to happen. Yeah, that was a solid piece of metal, and now it is basically consumed by being inside of the heater. So now we're going to try to pull the rest of this out, but I'm assuming it's just going to break all into pieces. And it wasn't that much runtime. Maybe an hour of runtime in total. I am not 100% sure what we're going to do, but I think we're going to have to give up on this idea because I don't have a material that will stand up to this as far as I know. I could try to make something out of ceramics. Okay, folks, here is the new plan, if we can call it that. Hopefully it works better than the old plan. So, I was trying to come up with maybe materials that would withstand the kind of conditions that we're dealing with in here. So I found my old burn chamber and I was like, why don't I just use the old piece from the old burn chamber? So this is actually this part of the burn chamber. You can see right here where the fuel tube used to go in. I don't know what this material is. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section. It's quite hard. It can take a lot of temperature and it doesn't oxidize easy. I've machined it down so that it fits in here and it slides all the way into the baffle, which quite conveniently gives me a second baffled area. So what I'm going to do, this is going to go in there just like that. And my original plan, I don't know if I already said this, but my original plan was to drill a hole through the top of the heat exchanger and feed oil down into a second hole, or pardon me, into a second burn area. I've been planning this for almost a year now, and it's finally time to pull the trigger on it. I think I didn't try it because I was worried if it didn't work, then I was kind of done with my best idea. And so I am nervous trying this because if it doesn't work, I don't know where to go from here. Yeah, I don't know where to go next if this doesn't work. And there's a decent chance that it won't work. I need to make a hole somewhere around here on the heat exchanger, and as you guys can see, there is clearly a fin in the way. What I'm going to do is use my Weaver rotary flex shaft tool. I've got my aluminum cutting bit. I'm going to pop it into the chuck, tighten it down, and then get cutting. This should make pretty quick work of it. Okay, I think that is actually good enough. I should be able to start a small drill bit in the edge of that fin. This might work. Okay. Now that I've marked the hole, I'm going to take the chamber back out and drill it. Hope that we're in the right spot. Okay, that did the trick. Not only does the hole line up pretty well, but I was worried about how I was going to hold that baffle in place, and it turns out I don't need to worry about it at all because the end of the fuel feed nozzle will actually hold it in place so that it can't fall out or flop around. Did anyone else cry a little bit knowing that I spent about an hour drilling through that whole thing and I just cut the majority of what I drilled through off, never to be used again? Oh boy. I am extremely grateful to be interrupting this video to welcome yet another Patreon member. Welcome, Joe. You are appreciated. If you guys want to support me on Patreon, there is a link in the description below. There will also be affiliate links to the Weaver rotary flex shaft grinder And because this video is about diesel heaters, if you want to pick up one of these or a 5 kilowatt version, I will have links to those as well as a discount code. Thanks again, Joe. I do appreciate it. I am going to block off the diesel to here with a fuel line crimp so that the fuel pump can't actually pump any into the secondary chamber. I'm going to turn the heater on. When I hear the fuel pump start clicking, I'm going to turn this valve on and drip some diesel in. Once it's warmed up, I will remove this clamp and allow it to pump. First, we're going to just use diesel. I've got 2 tanks up there. We're going to pump diesel into it, see what happens, and then if that goes well, we will start adding waste motor oil. Oh man, I really hope this works. I'm not sure why I think that it will work. I could be great. Yeah, I could be seriously disappointed. There we go. Celsius, so what I'm going to do is actually slow down the drip rate here a little bit and open up the fuel pump and see what happens. Actually, what I'm going to do first is just open up the fuel pump and see what happens. Alright, keep an eye on this pipe. I expect it to be rich. There's some blue smoke. Yep, I would say that's rich. Might not work, folks. Damn it. There's our answer. Damn it. Oh, it overheated. Well, it was making a lot of heat, apparently. Damn it. I was just about to come on camera and say that I was going to give up on this for a little while. And then I realized that I might have made a bit of an error. Yeah, that's an understatement if I ever heard one. Anyway, what I did is installed this so that it's dripping in from the top. It drips through this thing from the top. And it comes down like that. The diesel that I was dripping in was dripping right past the opening, which is not ideal at all. Probably most of it was getting blown out into the chamber and not actually staying in here. So what I'm actually going to do is try this again, and we're going to lay the heater on its side so that this goes in and hopefully the fuel runs down into this part. I expect the same results. The reason why I was going to come on camera and tell you guys that I was done with this for a while is because the main issue is, well, the easiest way to explain this is to explain how the burn chamber actually works. And I've done this in another video, so I'm just going to go over it quickly, but the air comes in through the back here, and it comes out into the area just behind that baffle that you can't see because it's too dark in there. And the air doesn't come out this way along the tube, the air shoots out towards the walls of the chamber. And the baffle is there basically to retain the gases, to keep everything in there, and burn it before it goes out into the tube. So very little burning actually should be happening in the tube. I'm going to try it one more time this way to see if we get any different results. But yeah, I'm going to put this back together. I will see you guys when it is back together, and we'll give it one more try. If it doesn't work, then I think I'm going to move on to doing some more testing with this. 182. All right, folks, I'm going to give it a go. I'm first going to screw this back in here. I guess that would make sense. With the hole that I made in the end of the chamber, I'm actually able to look in and I can see the piece that I put in there, that extra baffle, and the whole thing is glowing red hot. I think you might actually be able to see the little holes. Is that smoke or steam? Nah, it's it's not black smoke, but it's yeah, I'm gonna say it's a lot of carbon monoxide. Okay, not what I was expecting. 50 parts per million. I only opened the flow valve a little bit, or rather I only uncrimped the line a little bit. See if there's flames shooting out here. Oh, our fuel is leaking like a, okay, we're gonna have to seal that. I managed to actually get this soldered in place. It's still a little bit warm. I've tested it and it is sealed. So I'm gonna try it again, and yeah, fingers crossed it works. Time for a bit of an update. I have been playing with this for quite some time now. I had to increase the oil flow very slowly. Fortunately, we are actually burning oil now, not just adding diesel. So the temperature is up to 172 Celsius. It appears as though the switch over to waste oil has had a significant impact on the carbon monoxide and the heat. The heat is actually dropping, so I think that means it's not burning the waste oil very well. So we might have to recalibrate. The last time I talked to you guys, I thought something was very wrong, but I think I've figured out what is actually happening. There was diesel in the fuel line, I think I explained that to you guys, and it was starting to switch over to the waste oil mixture. And because the waste oil mixture is a completely different viscosity, it is much thicker, that slowed the rate of the fuel because I'm crimping the fuel line off. I think it's, oh yeah, it's in camera, or in frame rather. So anyway, I've played with the settings a little bit, and I had it up to about 206 Celsius. The drip rate from the fresh diesel is at 64 drips per minute. It's been staying very consistent. There's not a bunch of smoke outside. It doesn't stink really bad, and it seems really promising in that regard. 202 Celsius. We will take a look outside now and see what the plume looks like. And hopefully you guys can see it is not too bad. You can tell that is mostly steam because it's going away fairly quickly. It gets a very obvious black color to it when it's not burning clean. So I'm really wishing that I had this installed in my house, pumping heat into the house right now. I've decided to move the operation, but instead of moving it to my house, I've moved it to the other side of my garage. So we have it with the exhaust now going out the window, And that means I don't have to stand outside in the cold while I'm checking on this thing and making adjustments. So this isn't a perfect setup by any means. I don't recommend you run your exhaust out by a plastic window, but this is what I have done. I quite honestly do not want to end this video here, but realistically it is getting very long and I can't just add another 5 minutes to it and have it make sense. I would have to add like another 20 minutes. And so I'm going to end it here and try to get another video out fairly quickly. So the heater is installed in the window and that allows me to pump any nasty fumes and do all sorts of testing. But what you guys can expect for the next video, I don't know if I should actually say this, it might be too much of a spoiler. What I'm going to do in the next video, you'll see some initial testing and then I'm actually going to use 2 ECUs and 2 fuel pumps to feed one heater so that I can feed waste oil in with one and diesel in with the other. Now that I've said it, I actually have to do it. As of now, I've not done that, but I've done enough testing to know that that is going to work. And so I guess that's what you'll see next. That is going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.